Right, it's time for the papers this morning, and someone just popped a question this morning. Are we going to have good reports on the papers this morning? Good headlines to make Nigerians happy, one way or the other? Well, let's go through and see what they are saying this morning. We have joining us Dr. Daniel Kere, senior lecturer at the University of Lagos. Thank you very much for coming.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right, so we start off with the Punch newspaper. And the major story, killings by herdsmen. Reps want IG sacked. Senate rejects Benue panel report. Apologize to Otom over comment. Lawmakers tell police boss. I'm sure you, you heard that statement credited to the spokesperson of the police.
Honestly, but so far, really, a number of times I've watched this, police spokesperson, and he's always struggling with, words to cover, sometimes try to beautify a damaged image, But on this particular one, I think that statement was a bit callous. It was unprofessional. I expected a more diplomatic response to those kind of, to say that the governor of Benue State
Executive governor.
Yes, that the man is a drowning man who is whatever. I mean, it doesn't tell. It shows that because that statement alone, even indicts the police. It looks like the police is actually fighting the man as well.
And it makes you wonder if the spokesperson is the spokesperson of the IGP
or the police. Are you getting it? So it doesn't tell well for the image of a body like the Nigeria police. It is only here that they do things that are professional. Most of the time they go out for operations outside this country. They win laurels.
Excellently well.
So how come, when they're at home? Maybe, you see, we've not been able to engage to the point that they now have, begin to respect Nigerians. They take us for granted. And that same thing has gone to the point of even treating executive positions like the office of the governor.
Well, this goes a long way to paint a picture in the minds of Nigerians as to the battle between the IG of police or the police hierarchy and the Benue State government. This statement seemed like a reflection of why there hasn't been any much action.
Of course, there hasn't been any arrest. There hasn't been any. The Benue State governor has even pointed accusing fingers at certain persons. The police has not done anything.
And certain persons made comments, giving reasons why the attack occurred. And it was on the basis of those comments that the governor was saying that I have a strong feeling that these people are the ones responsible for this. The police has not even stepped in to say, okay,
into investigating.
Let's even do some form of investigation or arrest to quiz. Nothing has happened. But if this were to be in a different situation, the moment they get this kind of report, the first thing they do will be to sweep on those people, arrest them, whether there's anything or not. At least you come and bail yourself.
Exactly.
But on this particular issue,
or at least invite them for questioning.
Nothing has happened. It's really shocking.
What is happening really reminds you of what transpired in Rivers State when Rotimi Amici was the governor, between him and the commissioner of police then, Joseph Mbu.
Mbu
All right.
Another.
Okay, we go to the top of the Punch. PDP, senior civil servants, others berate Buhari for reinstating NHIS executive secretary. Why Usman Yusuf was recalled, presidency source.
As a matter of fact, I'm yet to get the details on the basis for the recall. And
well, the unnamed source said that the executive secretary was suspended with unsubstantiated accusations that they've not been, and in fact that the committee set up to probe him was set up in a biased manner. So, and some of the allegations were concocted,
so
according to the presidency source.
If it was set up in a biased manner, they certainly would have done a biased job. You see, but we need to be very careful the way and manner we recall persons who have been one way or the other fired.
Perception matters here.
It's critical.
Perception
is critical.
matters
This
here.
government seems to have, that attitude towards persons that a lot of, accusations have been made on. You see them recalling and, later telling stories. The president is not aware and all of that. So I've been wondering who does the recall.
Nigerians are beginning to feel the time it takes for the government to act.
It's always something else. It's always something else.
And we are very sure that the leadership, the government gets daily reports of everything that is going on, whether it is corruption,
from the very moment this committee was set up,
exactly.
from the moment the committee was set up, since you're already aware that the setup of this, the setting up of the committee was based on bias. Why do you even allow the committee to function to start with?
Why not even set up your own?
I mean, so at that point you should disband such a committee. Then put up a committee that is not biased, that is not set up through bias, and that will not do a biased job. So that I'm sure that committee would have spent some money.
Absolutely.
So why waste public
And with the
funds?
way that he was reinstated, some of the statements credited to the president yesterday that they would look for a way to make Professor Yusuf, the NHIS boss, and the Minister of Health work together harmoniously. Some Nigerians were worried. Some of those I spoke with yesterday saying that, does that mean he won't be probed again? All is forgiven?
Have they done anything to the ones that... Let's leave that issue.
All right. Okay, quickly, last one. Let's take, IBB. Afegwa visits police, released after 2-hour interaction.
Yeah, this
Putting your money where your mouth is.
IBB, I don't know whether Afegwa felt that. No, but truly, is this man representing Babangida? Because it wasn't long after the so-called release of that statement or letter that IBB, denied it, that he has unfettered access to the presidency, and he wouldn't engage in this kind of, writings. Although I know he doesn't have Obasanjo's PhD.
But there was another statement after that.
Yeah.
Another statement after that. In fact, it was this day newspaper that interviewed him, and he said that the initial statement released by his spokesperson stands. Yes,
so which one do we believe now? Because I remember I listened to Channels Television where the report was coming in that IBB's spokesperson has done this. Only with that, the same person, he didn't leave the stage before that statement that IBB has denied such knowledge of such a letter, that he wouldn't even engage in such a letter when he has unfettered access to the presidency. So what would be the basis? That if he has any such issue, he could easily discuss it.
Well, I just told you the latest
now,
anyway.
Another one is now coming in.
Yeah, but the point there is we all know that Kasim Afegwa has been the spokesman of
over
IBB over the years. So he wouldn't just
but again, there was a point at which he took up appointment at those states. I don't know whether he was speaking for IBB at that point.
No, certainly.
Or maybe he had just been...
But I just told you.
Maybe whatever he says is IBB's mind. I don't know what
I just told you now, and you can take it to the bank, that the newspaper interviewed, spoke with the former IBB, military president, and he said that the initial statement released by Afegwa stands, and it was with that confidence. He went to the police command yesterday with his lawyer to face them, and he was released after 2 hours.
But in any case, what was even the basis of the arrest? That somebody wrote a letter or somebody made a statement?
No, he was only invited. The point is, he was declared wanted. Exactly.
As if he was missing.
But the
police has apologized to him from the reports we're getting. But he was invited afterwards by the DSS, for another interaction.
Not on the issue of the letter.
Well, okay, let's move to the Nation newspaper now. Army Operation Cat Race to fight herdsmen attacks, and troops for Niger, Benue, Taraba, Kaduna next week.
Well,
more troops.
Yeah, we've been expecting something like this. We've always said that the situation in that neighborhood the police seem to be overwhelmed, or that they are not prepared to deal with the situation. Let the army come in, because even situations that are not as critical as
overwhelmed or seen not to be doing anything.
Exactly what I've said. I said either they are overwhelmed or I'm not even prepared to do anything. But I'm even saying that there have been cases of massive dance of python, over cases that are not as serious as this. And like I've always said, I expect that, an anaconda dance should follow, because this is a more crucial issue. Yeah, so you should deal with this situation decisively, because the way and manner these killers are going about their business and the attitude of the presidency towards them, tend to, embolden them, tends to give them more vigor to do what they are doing.
These are the kind of issues in other countries Nigerian police contingent are sent to. And they record success.
Absolutely.
Are you getting it?
So what's the difference? And it's the same police force we're
talking
talking
about. But you can
understand
why the police cannot do anything. Because look at the statements coming from the police.
Oh,
yeah.
that could be a reflection.
I mean,
maybe.
so
And
it's very clear they are not prepared.
And well, if the country stretches the army like this, of course, the soldiers are expected to protect the territorial integrity of the country and, of course, general integrity of the country.
Well,
and if they are, you know, deployed for internal security,
but we're enough for
what
Boko
happens
Haram.
to external...
We're enough for Boko Haram. The army has been idle for quite a while. So,
well, what about the invasion of some of our territories now by Cameroonian soldiers?
you see, no, what I'm even telling you that we're not for the Boko Haram saga of recent times. Even a lot of the people in the Nigerian army have not had a taste of any of these operations before.
But they've been sending the Nigerian military to operations abroad.
And they
That's
were
abroad
not
now.
trained for this.
That is abroad here.
Okay.
So let these are kind of tests. So they are, you know,
but they were not trained for this because there is always the issue.
No,
of
the army is always
relation
apart from the question of territorial integrity. The army is always trained for even this kind of insurrections. You know, because there are cases that will be beyond the police. And the army steps. Because
they were trained to use maximum force, and with this kind of, that is why some civilians are always.
But these herdsmen, maximum force should be used on them. The ones you see, they are no longer leading cattle. These are killers.
There's a new development. Nasarawa thief flee to Benue. There are reports yesterday that a lot of thief people, Nigerians of thief origin, have started leaving Nasarawa State back to Benue because of attacks by herdsmen.
The attacks are everywhere. They are in Benue, they are in Nasarawa. So I don't know where there's going to be peace for these people. I think the army should step in and quell the situation. Because the way and manner the police has managed the situation over time points clearly to the fact that they are not prepared.
Okay. All right.
The officials are spending more time talking than acting, as seen by the people anyway. Okay, so we go to the Daily Sun. Major story, yes, still on the deployment of the troops as Operation Ayem Akpatuma, if I got it.
Ayem Akpatuma.
Ayem Akpatuma begins in Benue, Taraba, others. Army deploys troops in 6 northern states. Reps demand removal of IGPs. Senate rejects committee's report. So we leave that. Yes, we go to, yes, he hinted that earlier. DSS invites IBB spokesman. Police apologized to me, says Afegwa. Though the police has not come out to say that.
Yes, because Afegwa statements have been denied the places now. So until we hear the police, but the police will not even own up.
Okay.
That's another attitude of the police that you can, you know.
All right. So Senate summons defense minister over Cameroonian troops invasion. Yes, I was talking about this earlier.
Yes, and that is where the true professional, you know, practice of the army will come in. Let's see how they will deal with the situation. And in that case, you see, even the case of the Boko Haram saga, to the point of taking territories, was actually a function of a lapse of a kind on the part of the Nigerian army. Because this is a constitutional duty that you are to protect the territorial integrity of this country. And certain parts of the country were actually being taken over by, you know, insurgents. So I expected that the army would have actually clamped down on them. And the question of, you know, the former President Goodluck Jonathan wondering whether it was genuine or not would not have even arisen. Now, it fettered, I mean, it continued to a point that they have to hoist their flags in several other places. And now the army has dealt with the situation to a point. We are now praising them. But I'm saying that in the first instance, it was a lapse. Now another one has happened. So I expect that there should be more a proactive, you know, approach by the Nigerian army. Don't wait for this, you know, to happen. Because a number of times before these things happen, you find some little traces of things of this kind that are going to take place. You find the traces that the way and manner things are moving, there's likely going to be this. So you step in at that point.
Okay. Well, let's move to the Vanguard newspaper. Army deploys troops to Benue, 5 other states. We have seen this. We've talked about it. And then no preferred candidate for 2019. President Obasanjo, or former President Obasanjo, is saying this.
No preferred
candidate for
preferred by who now? Who is preferring the candidate? Is it himself?
Okay.
To place himself.
So you can see that we have not actually deviated. We have not gone any step further than this normal politicking. Because at the end, even the so-called third force, or whatever you call it, coalition, from the various, you know, suspicions, you could begin to even trace the hand of Obasanjo. So it's as good as PDP, it's as good as APC. If the third force that is coming is the one that Obasanjo is instigating or is funding, or he has, you know, one way or the other, you know, a kind of support for. I expect, that is why I'm even wondering whether the generational shift we are talking about can even take place. Because a lot of these younger people we're talking about still rely on these old hands for funds.
No, but when it comes to experience, you can't remove the issue of experience
At all, you cannot. You see, the problem is not really about age per se. It is about the characters. You see, because when you look at the projections by some, thinkers with respect to state management, you should have the knowledge of how to govern, what the interests of the people.
Okay,
you must have that knowledge.
Yeah, let's move on here. Nigeria adds 225,000 barrels per day more as Bonga resumes production. This is going to add up to...
That is good news for the economy.
Good news, okay. Pension fund assets hit 7.3. Oh, okay, fine. And NBS is coming up with that. And telecom operators to get new interconnect rates in March. Well, those are some of the headlines on the Vanguard.
Okay, so we go to the last paper this day. Yes, the major story. In new onslaught, Budete orders troops deployment in Benue, Taraba, 4 other states to combat killer headsmen, cattle rustlers, kidnappers. DSS police to join in Operation I Am Akpatuma. So the police is going to be a part of that operation as well as the DSS. Yeah. Sack IG Idris for incompetence. House tells Buhari as Senate summons defense minister over Cameroonian invasion. We talked about that. Yes, we talked about this. To DSS invites Babangida's aide. Afegbua says police apologize to him. So we go to, yes, I am tired of this calamity, says Shakau, Boko Haram leader, in new video.
Yes, I watched a small, a little part of it. Yeah, when the man was saying that he is still in charge of Sambisa Forest. All right, this Sheka we are talking about has died several times and has resurrected. Now, the same Sheka is telling you that he's still... So I keep wondering that this Sambisa Forest of a place, the place is looking more spiritual than physical. Are you getting it?
Because but it's quite a large...
Yeah, but no matter how large...
Covering so many states.
Yes, not even states, it's between countries as well. Now, these countries are all affected by the same challenge. What is wrong with, a coalition of forces against this, this miscreants? And are we saying that both the Nigerian army, the Cameroonian armies, and what have you, cannot actually, patrol the entire
Nigerians
forest?
in captivity there that if you engage like that, the life of all of these people will be in danger. No, the army has said that
to
over and over again. To avoid collateral damage.
No.
Except if you're going to wipe Boko Haram and wipe out the Nigerians.
We are not saying bomb them.
Okay.
At least we have the Nigerian Air Force. I do not think that...
They just succeeded with Operation Deep Punch too.
Leave those operations. They've always told us they finish with Boko Haram. And from time to time, they keep releasing more people. They keep having, some of these people surrendering and all the rest. They keep recovering territories. Which means that we can't really believe them totally because it shows there are still territories under them.
They really made
but they've made some good progress. Yes. They've made, very good progress.
Boko Haram has not been able to attack, in full force since 2016.
Yes, but attacking in full force is not the only strategy they use. So whether they attack in full force or not, they are still very much on ground. Okay. And they are still doing their normal beats. So we need to deal with that situation because this is a guerrilla warfare. It's not a conventional war that you can say, I have defeated my opponent.
Absolutely.
So we need to be very careful about that.
So lastly, FG targets 762.5 billion naira earnings from $2.5 billion Eurobond to finance treasury bills to save 64 billion naira annually from dollar-backed treasury bills. In short, it's just that at least to boost the economy and make get more money.
Let's boost the economy to the point that I will have it reflect on my table. Yeah, that is when the common man
that is what Nigerians want.
Of course, that's the only point.
When you talk about all these figures, it's good to hear, but people want to see it on the table, see it on the streets where everyone is.
Absolutely. We are not all professional economists, but we are all economists. We want to see the economy reflect on our
demand, supply, buying, selling, and so on.
All right, Dr. Dan Ekere, thank you very much for your analysis.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
As always.
It's always a pleasure.
Okay.
All right, we'll go on a break, and when we come back, we'll be going to Benue. Let us talk about what is going on there and what the perceptions are, what seem to be the issues between the IG of police and the Benue State Governor. Stay with us on TVC Breakfast.